2 years, no salary hike. What do we say about that, Aishah?
Chop hop.
Generally speaking, in Malaysia, inflation is about 2 to 3% a year. All countries go through inflation lah. You know, you're a high performer, you'll get more. If you get promoted, you'll get more lah, whatever it is.
That's for 10%, guys.
Yeah, for sure. You guys should ask for like 10%, 20%. If they can't pay you, just look for another job. They'll pay you 20%. Yeah. For real. If you're talking like weeks and months, of course, it's not like you're going to feel like, oh my God, every day the prices are going up. 99 just passed. As of the time we're recording this video.
1010 is coming out then.
Exactly. There's so many. Yeah, there's so many. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Money Goal. My name is Emir and I have Aishah with me again.
Aishah.
Hey, Aishah. Welcome back.
Hi. Okay, so this week I want to talk about inflation,
Okay.
like
Big topic.
adulting.
Yep.
So I'm not that old lah. End of my 20s, I'm living alone, I'm working, I have my own responsibilities, my
Yep.
car, semua kan. And I feel like macam, how do people live lah with their gaji right now? Because
Yep.
I want to know how can you manage you punya finances better
To cope with inflation.
to cope with inflation, the rising price of groceries. Even if you want to go out to work, kan, you need to refill your car, parking, toll, everything is money lah, basically.
Yeah. And the prices just go up.
And prices go up, but gaji stays. For a lot of people, the gaji stays. For some like us, naik pun macam, you know what, can lah, but not much. Not enough.
Okay.
So, for me, it's fine. I'm living with my parents, not with my parents, in my mom's house. I'm living alone.
No rent.
No rent.
Okay.
My only expenses is food, my car, and my health insurance. That's all.
Okay.
No debt.
Health insurance has a lot of inflation as well. Crazy a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
But
But what about people who are young and also having families?
yeah.
Who have kids, school. So how do you manage
Right.
rising prices and your money?
Okay. I guess just to give some context first for people who don't know. Inflation is basically when the price of items go up, right? So it's a basket of items. Generally speaking, in Malaysia, inflation is about 2 to 3% a year.
Wow, that's
And
a lot.
all countries go through inflation lah.
Correct.
Yeah. If you go through deflation, which is the opposite of inflation, it's actually a bad thing. Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, prices dropping is good, but it's actually bad. But I won't explain that because it's super complex economic stuff. Boring, right? Okay, but let's talk about it from an individual perspective.
Correct, yeah.
How do you manage this? Okay, so I think this one, all the talk about managing your costs, I think it's pretty much the same with previous episodes. So you got a budget, you got to make sure that you know you have enough money for your needs, and then you look at your wants, etc., right? But I actually think, I don't know if this is the answer that you're looking for, but I
Okay.
really think that inflation, the only way you can beat inflation is to invest your money and increase your income.
Yeah.
So I think those have to be done to beat inflation. I don't think you can just manage costs, right? Because just to give you an example, my dad is old lah. Is old, and when I was a kid, I want to buy Coke. I'm like, I need 2 ringgit to buy Coke, and he was like, oh, back in my days, Coke is 20 cents. I'm like, yeah, I don't live in the 1940s. That, but yeah. So that's just an example, right? And they always say, I don't know about your parents lah. They used to tell me, oh, nasi lemak used to be like 50 cents, 30 cents. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard things like that. Like macam mi kari dekat sekolah 30 sen. I'm
Exactly, like, a
like,
lot
mine is
cheaper.
2 ringgit.
Yeah, I know.
What can I do?
Yeah. So over time, you see 3% a year, 3% a year, 3% a year. There's only so much cost that you can manage, right?
Yep.
If I am on the same income and Coke is 20 cents, on the same income, Coke is now 3 ringgit. Like, what can I do? I cannot just keep cutting my expenses and trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. Of course, you can, find cheaper places to buy in bulk during sales, all these things. Yes, you can do it, but there is an extent to it. You cannot outpace inflation forever, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think the 2 main things you need to do. Number 1 is you got to make sure that your income keeps up with inflation. So most companies that I know of at least, they increase your income at minimum to match inflation. right? So if inflation is 3%, they will say, okay, everybody gets a minimum of 3%. If you're a high performer, you'll get more. If you get promoted, you'll get more lah, whatever it is.
As for 10%, guys.
Yeah, for sure. You guys should ask for like 10%, 20%. If they can't pay you, just look for another job. They'll pay you 20%. Yeah. For real. Yeah. If you guys or you are not getting at least 2 to 3% a year, then I would say you need to find another job, because in reality, you're actually earning less, right? Because of inflation, next year, all prices go up, but your salary is still the same.
So inflation is guaranteed to 9 every year.
It can go down. You can get into deflation, like
Yep.
Japan went into deflation. But again, like I said, it's a bad thing. So 99% chance inflation is going
Right.
to happen every single year.
Right.
Yeah. So you need to make sure your salary is going up together lah, at least. So you won't be richer. So if you guys get a 3% increment in your salary next year, it's not that you're going to be richer and suddenly you can afford more things. It's just that nasi lemak prices went up. I can still afford it with my
Right.
new adjusted salary. So that's one thing. And of course, if you can earn more, better lah. If you have side incomes, if you can get promotions, if you hop jobs,
Hop jobs.
even better. Yeah. So that's one way to beat it. Just earn more money, right? Simple. Just kidding.
So you mentioned investment. How does that help?
Okay, so investments is also why, or investments, one of the most important reasons to invest is to beat inflation. So, like I said, inflation, it will come every year, right?
Yeah.
So if I save, let's say, 100,000 ringgit in cash to, this year, now I have 100,000 ringgit in cash, and I keep it under my pillow, right? Or I keep it, I want to keep it safe. We can't trust the banks, right? We want to put it in my tabong, right? 100,000 ringgit. With 3% inflation, next year, the value of this 100,000 ringgit will feel more like 97,000 ringgit. There's the effect of
I
inflation,
get you.
right?
Right.
If, to give you guys a more simple explanation, let's say my dad, 60 years ago, he had 20 cents, said, okay, 20 cents I can buy Coke today. He said, let me save these 20 cents in my pocket. 60 years later, he has 20 cents, he can't buy Coke anymore. He can't even buy ice with 20 cents, right? So that is the effect of inflation if you just keep your money in cash and it's not earning you any money. 20, I mean, if you're talking like weeks and months, of course, it's not like you're going to feel like, oh my God, every day the prices are going up. But I'm sure, I mean, the last episode you talked about Netflix, Spotify, even they up prices, right?
Yes.
Even they up prices.
Yeah,
So
correct.
if you just hold your cash, you won't feel the impacts in months, or sometimes even maybe, 1-2 years can pass by with no price hike. But if you're talking 20, 30 years down the line, the value of your money is going to be a lot less, right? And that is why you need to invest. So let's say now 100,000 ringgit, instead of putting it in the tabung, I put it into, let's say, Amanah Saham. And Amanah Saham gives me 5%, 5.5%. So at least every year inflation goes up by 3%, my money is going up by 5%, 5.5%.
So you have that 2% extra lah. Okay.
Exactly. So that is actually one of the main reasons that people need to invest. I think if you think that, investing is risky, right? What if I put it into stocks? What if I put it into crypto and then I lose all my money, right? Yes, it is risky. But if you don't invest, you put it in the bank account, guaranteed 30 years down the line, the value of your money is just going to go down a lot. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people thought that macam if you invest your money, you can't really use your money because you keep it in a place kan. Because
Yeah.
I used to think that way. So
Yeah.
I always keep my money in ASB only. So I don't have to like masukkan banyak
Yep.
compared to like stocks or crypto.
Yep.
Because how do I want to use, what if suddenly I emergency and I want to use that money?
Yeah. You can. I mean, you can always just sell the crypto or the stocks and withdraw the money. But I mean, having said that, that's why I think places like ASB and all, they still have their place because you want to keep your emergency funds, for
Yes,
example,
correct.
in ASB. If, let's say, your car suddenly needs repairs, you don't want to have to sell the stocks to withdraw it. But let's say, like long-term life, if you're thinking of buying a house, you can always just sell your investments. Yeah. And actually, one thing is a lot of people think like you, which is why they don't want to invest their money. Because I'm like, if I invest, then I can never touch this money again. But you can, yeah. No one is preventing you from selling your investments, withdrawing it, and using it. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of benefits to investing. And if you don't even think about retirement, like if you're not thinking about, retirement is so far away, at least you need to beat inflation.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about, like inflation every year, and then you also need to save for like the future kan. Macam you cakap,
Exactly.
the retirement
Yep.
and all that, and then also your health one day, or if you lose your job, so you need to prepare for also emergency.
Yeah. For sure. So a lot of things, yeah. But yeah, I think if you can do these two things, like make sure your income is growing every single year and then investing any money that you have,
So basically, cutting costs won't help you lah.
it can.
It
Short
can,
term,
but not forever.
not forever. Yeah, it makes sense, right? How long can you cut costs for if
Yeah.
you're on the same income? You cannot do it forever. Yeah.
Yes.
But I guess, if you are really stuck, like let's say now you're in a situation where you don't even have any investments, and you don't see a way on how you can up your income, then of course there are things you can do, right? You can buy cheaper, right? You can
Buy in bulk.
buy in bulk. You can go to, instead of going to Jaya Grocer, you can go to 99 Speed Mart, Econ Safe, places like that. And then, like I said in previous episodes, I like to buy on Shopee.
11.
Yeah, during 99. I mean, 99 just passed. As of the time we're recording this video.
10 is coming out then.
Exactly. There's so many. Yeah, there's so many. Every single month.
You can buy your toiletries,
Exactly.
groceries also kan.
Yep,
Boleh
groceries,
10.
you might- Yeah, now they have nearly everything. I bought a banana once on Shopee just to try. Yeah. Okay, you don't have to buy everything there, but like she said, toiletries and stuff.
No, then you have to wait 3 days delivery.
Yeah, it's really good. No lah, now they have same day delivery.
Same day delivery,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so we have some stories that people send in. This one, the 300 ringgit grocery shop. 300 ringgit groceries.
Actually, wait, on groceries, I always see, have you seen those like, this is what I can get in my trolley with 50 ringgit 10 years ago, and this is what I can get now.
Oh yeah.
10 years ago,
With 50 ringgit kan.
yeah,
With
and
50
then you
ringgit.
realize that everything,
compare,
and then now it's
yeah.
like a tray of eggs, like, oh yeah, this.
But really, if you bring 50 ringgit to a grocery store now, apa je you can get? Like telur, if you buy for a big family, the 30 biji telur tu kan, it's like 20 plus already, 25 already. Milk is like,
10 ringgit.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, back to the question.
I used to shop at the same Pasar Raya every week, buying the same item. My bill always hovered around 200 ringgit. Then one day, I scanned the total 300. I thought it was a mistake. Same rice, same chicken, same vegetables, but prices had quietly crept up. I stood there at the checkout lane feeling helpless, like my money had shrunk overnight. That day, I went home and really looked at my spending. I cut down on snacks and started meal prepping for a week. Now I plan menus, buy in bulk when there's sale, and avoid last-minute takeaways. It hasn't solved everything, but saving 80 ringgit here and there gives me some breathing space. The question is, what are some small grocery or food hacks Malaysians can use to fight inflation without compromising too much on quality?
I think if you're a family, then cooking makes sense. Cooking can save you money, but if you are single, if you're cooking for yourself, maybe even 2 people, I don't know, from my experience, it doesn't save you money at all.
Yeah, ingredients are expensive
yeah,
actually if you're living alone.
Yeah, so
And it spoils because they sell
exactly,
banyak, right?
exactly. If you're buying fresh produce, then it spoils. Yeah, so if you have a family, then yeah, by all means, you can cook. You can maybe even meal prep. I think maybe meal prepping as an individual could
Right.
be good, but then you have to just eat the same food lah all the time. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I can think of lah. Yeah.
I feel like going to a pasar in the morning, early in
Yeah.
the morning, that's how you can get the freshest macam fish or produce.
For
And also
value.
they're very cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You have
mum
to
tells me.
plan you have to plan all these things lah because
Yeah.
pasar is only like what? Kadang-kadang it's like in one area it's Rabu pagi or
Yeah,
Saturday morning. So you really have to plan all this.
yeah.
Yeah, and people are gonna crowd these places
Yeah.
because that's where. And usually pasar, I feel like my mom has gone one time, and kadang-kadang if you lambat sedikit,
Everything finishes.
sayur habis or ikan habis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you can start with pasar, right? Pasar pagi and
Yeah.
buy there instead of
My mum does that,
supermarkets.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely cheaper compared to if you went to the more premium grocers lah. Yeah, my mom does that. And then when it's time for like festive seasons, Raya, Chinese New Year,
Right.
prices always goes up.
Correct.
Yes.
Chicken especially.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. But my mom would then buy in advance. So I
Right.
don't know. She says to keep it in the freezer.
2-3
It
days
is fine.
in advance. How long?
In advance.
What do you mean
She
chicken?
says you can keep it in the freezer and it's fine. I mean, I don't know. I've been eating her cooking and I haven't gotten stomach
I
ache, but
mean-
that's something that she does to save money because she
Interesting.
says it gets a lot more expensive. Look, I don't know how much more because I don't buy these
My
things.
family started shopping for Raya probably a week lah for food, ingredients and all that. Yeah. But I feel like for people who are single living alone, I feel like buying is cheaper.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely cheaper
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me. I don't know about other people, but for me it's cheaper because I don't have to if a SYOK goes bad, then it's a waste, right? Because I have to buy, because I cannot ask them to like potong ke apa, because if they already packed it for you,
Yeah.
I just have to buy everything, especially potatoes or like bread.
Yeah.
This
I
thing
agree, I
spoils very, very fast. Okay. Next story. Second one. Rent hike.
Okay.
When my landlord told me rent was going up by 150, I panicked. My salary hadn't increased in 2 years, but my expenses were climbing every month. I considered moving, but everywhere else was just as expensive. For weeks, I lost sleep thinking how to stretch my budget. Allah kesian. Finally, I decided to get a housemate. At first, it felt like giving
A
up.
housemate.
Yeah,
Okay.
she rented a whole house.
Okay.
So she's been living
A
alone, I
housemate.
guess.
Okay. I thought a maid, like a okay.
Housemate.
You're struggling and then you got a maid. Okay. A housemate. Okay.
Okay. At
Makes more
first,
sense now.
it felt like giving up privacy, but splitting rent and utilities gave me instant relief. I learned that sometimes surviving inflation means adapting,
Yep.
even if it's uncomfortable. Now, with the extra savings, I can at least set aside something for emergencies. The question is, what's a practical way to cut housing or utility costs in Malaysia without lowering your quality of life too much? I feel like this one you have to jawab because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because I live in my mom's house, so I don't pay rent. I just pay my electric bills. That's all.
So okay, I just got my rental increase as well recently. So
Okay, does that
feel
happen
your pain.
every year or
Okay.
every month?
so this one it it cannot be every month. It's when your contract ends.
Every month, RM50.
It's when your contract ends. It's when your contract ends.
Oh.
But this is my first rent hike in 4 years. Which is, I consider it very good.
Okay,
right?
how much was it?
And then my landlord wanted to increase it by 200 ringgit. But I told him, can you give it 100 ringgit? Because you've not been paying on time, I take care of the house, blah, 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 blah. He's like, okay, sure. So actually one thing that you can do, a tip, is take care of the unit, pay your landlord on time, and then negotiate with them. I think sometimes they will really let you do it because to them it's a hassle as well. You know, for 100 ringgit a month, if you don't want to stay here anymore, I have to find another tenant. It's going to be a whole thing for me, right?
Right.
So one is, I guess, be responsible to your landlord. Make sure everything's okay. Make sure you pay on time. That's one thing. Two, I think, I don't know if this really impacts their quality of life, but I think getting a roommate, I'll just use a roommate. I think it works better. I think it helps. I don't know, I feel like I would be
50-50 with everything,
You
right?
save so much money. Yeah, you save so much money. You
Betul.
half everything off. So I think that's a pretty good option.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, if it's within your affordability level, then consider buying a house as well. So I think this is
Right.
one of the main benefits of buying a house, because when you buy, there's no inflation. Right? When you buy, you pay the same
Like,
amount.
huh?
Yeah, you pay the same amount to your bank for the
Yeah,
next 35 years.
yes.
The bank cannot be like, I'm going to increase your mortgage because of inflation. It doesn't work like that, right? So if let's say you have the money, your income is quite high, and you can afford buying a house with the same amount of money you're using to rent now, then yeah, you can consider buying as well. And the final thing on this is that 2 years, no salary hike. What do we say about that, Aishah?
Chop hop. Leave your boss. Thank you, 10% or I'm gone.
Exactly. 0 in 2 years is not great. It's not great.
It's not great,
Yeah. I mean, like they said, prices are going up.
Yes.
If your rent is going up, how can your salary not go up? How am I going to pay my rent now?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, cool. So I guess to wrap this all up, inflation, yes, you can cut costs to manage it, but you can't do it forever. So the main thing is, number one, invest. Number two, make sure your income goes up as well, together with inflation at minimum.
At minimum. So
Yeah.
either 2% or 3%.
Exactly. But best 10%, that's for sure.
Yes, 10% or you're
Aisha's
out.
boss, if you're watching, 10%.
10% or I'm out. Thank you.
Alright, thanks guys for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you in the next one.